Alright guys, well, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one, we are doing another out and about video. So I'm still in Berlin. This time we are in Friedrichshain, which is in the eastern part of the city, and we're going to have a little look at this place. So this is Hops and Barley, a little brew pub. So let's go in and do as we always do. We'll check out some of the beers. If they've got some food, we'll have a look at that as well. But yeah, let's crack on and have a wee look at this one. Always cool to explore new places here in Germany. So hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's do this. So yeah guys, as you can see, there is Hausbrauerei, Hops und Barley. And yeah, typical kind of Berlin street, this one. Looks very, very nice. But yeah, let's go in and have a little look. Now this place I have already been in. It is very, very small, but you can see it's pretty cool actually. This is quite different from the other places we've been before. So yeah, when you come in, they're sitting chilling watching the football. You've got your little brew kit over there. Yeah, little room over here. Your beers there. Very, very small kind of bar, this one. And yeah, nice looking bar actually. I really like this. So they've got a little back room here where they're also watching the football. But yeah, some different stickers and things on the wall here, which is pretty cool. And yeah, their little brew kit, and they have a few different beers that you can take away. So cherry wood, four malts, pale ale, IPA, Pilsner, the Weizen, the Bernstein, a stout and a Dunkel. So yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, we're sitting over here, so you guys can say hello to Mika, Elena and Maya, and then we're going to get another beer and do some more filming. Alright guys, well, time for our first beer tasting then here at Hops and Barley in Berlin. So I'd just like to have a little look at the poster mat. This is the symbol for Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. So yeah, pretty cool I have to say. You can also see it on the glass there. Where is it? There we go. So yeah, Hops and Barley, very, very nice. But yeah, the first beer that we're going for then is something straightforward. It's their Pilsner, 5% ABV. Very good place to start. So as you can see, and as you would expect, this beer's poured a lovely, bright, kind of golden straw colour, natural, unfiltered kind of haze to it. Looks very, very nice. Remember, colour of your beer depends on the type of malts that you use, length of your wort oil, any adjuncts that you put in, any barrel aging that you do, and so on. But yeah, in terms of what you would expect for a Pilsner, this one is the right colour. You know, I'm curious about this one because it is unfiltered. I wonder, is this going to be a little bit more like a Czech Pilsen than a German Pilsner? Remember, the Czech Pilsens are a bit more kind of yeasty and bready and stuff like that, whereas the German Pilsners are a little bit more kind of crisp and biscuity and stuff like this. But yeah, when this beer poured, lovely finger of a frothy, I would say kind of creamy coloured head. Not too much carbonation visible in this one, but it certainly looks very, very nice. So nothing else we need to say about the appearance of this beer. Let's take a look at the aroma and see how we go. So yeah, aroma wise, this one's very nice. It's actually got a good little bit of a hoppy bitterness to it, but I'm also getting some nice kind of bready, grainy characters out of it. So yeah, interesting. So for me, backbone of this beer, lovely little bit of a kind of bread crusty barley malt to it. Yeah, a little bit of a bread crusty barley malt to it. White bread on top of that. Not too much sweetness to this one. Normally a Pilsner would have a little bit of a, you know, biscuity, McVitie's Digestive sort of biscuity malt base to it. But, you know, really this one is more kind of bready leaning. So bread crust, white bread, teeny little bit of that McVitie's Digestive biscuity character. But quite crisp. You can really smell the kind of crispness of that Pilsner malt in this beer the more that you smell of it. On the hoppy side of things, a little bit of earthiness in there. You do get a little bit of a floral aromatic sort of thing. It's a wee bit kind of crisp as well. But then yeah, on top of the kind of floral side of things, it's got a little bit of a kind of grassy zestiness to it, which I really like. But yeah, really nice smelling beer, I have to say. On the fruity side of things, it's kind of what you'd expect. A little bit of a kind of sultana, like dried white green grapey sort of thing. A wee bit of kind of, yeah, a little bit of a sort of it's got a little bit of that almost kind of oily peary sort of thing. Sultana, oily pear, a little bit of a kind of like gooseberry type thing as well. A little bit of a kind of zesty, grassy type note to it. But yeah, everything you would want from a Pilsner beer actually. I really like how this goes together. Yeah, as I always say, take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in, but let's have a taste of this one. So yeah, this is the Pilsner, 5% ABV from Hops and Barley Berlin. Slange, Skull, cheers, Prost. Yeah, that is very, very nice. Yeah, lovely, smooth Pilsner, this one. It does have a little bit of that kind of Helles character to it. It's got a bit of the kind of bready smoothness. But yeah, I like this one. The further you go into the aftertaste with it, it really does start to show the kind of Pilsner character. But yeah, it works. It absolutely works. So yeah, middle third of your palate with this one then. You get that lovely smooth bread crusty backbone, absolutely. So yeah, that forms the base of the middle third of your palate. Smooth white bread on the top. On top of that though, you start to get a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. And yeah, I think that works. That works really nicely. It's a very well balanced beer, so yeah, a little bit of a bread crust that gets a bit drier the further you go into the aftertaste. Smooth and crisp white breadiness there. Toward the back of the front third of your middle third of your palate, you start to feel the crispness of the Pilsner malt there, then that wee bit of McVitie's digestive biscuity note sitting on top of it. Really, really nice. Hoppy side of things. Back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward, it gets a little bit herbal. As you reach the front corners of the palate, a little bit more floral and aromatic. Round the front curve of the tongue, a little bit lighter and grassy. And it does have a wee bit of zestiness to it on the grassy side of things too, so that's really nice. On the fruity side of the beer then, yeah, on the fruity side of things, it's got a lovely it has a lovely sort of smoothness to it. Yeah, it's soft white bread underneath. On top of that, you get a little bit of that sultana, that kind of dried white green grapey sort of thing. A little bit of an oily pear. As you come further forward, maybe a little touch of like a gooseberry type flavour as well. But then you get those more zesty, grassy type notes. I mean, in terms of what you would want from a Pilsner, this one has everything that you would like. I really like how this beer goes together in that sense. So yeah, awesome stuff I have to say. I really, really like this beer. It was about its business from a Pilsner. A lovely kind of house brewed Pilsner beer, this one. Awesome stuff. But yeah, a little bit of a Helles type vibe. The amount of breadiness you have in this one, it really does have a little bit of that kind of Helles type vibe to it. But definitely has the crispness that you want of a German Pilsner. So yeah, very nice. Mouthfeel wise, top end of light body for me. I think that's due to the fact that it's an unfiltered beer. Carbonation is a little bit crisp, which you want from a Pilsner. Hoppy side of things, I think about 25, 30 IBUs, which again is what you want. Malty side of the beer, smooth, crisp, little touch sweet. A little bit of an oily, fruity character, but yeah, this is everything you would want from a small house brewed Pilsner. So very impressed with this. Yeah, the Hops and Barley Pilsner, 5% ABV. I really like this one, so thumbs up to them. Let's see what we've got coming up next. So guys, yeah, a little look at the tap list here then. So mainly German, but a little bit of American influence too. So they have a Pilsner, Hopfenweizen, Dunkel, a Bernstein, which I'm going to see what that is. They've got some cider too, a pale ale, and an IPA. So yeah, the other two beers that are there, a Cherrywood Strong Lager and a 4 Malt Ale. So yeah, we'll need to ask about some of these, but quite an interesting tap list here. Awesome. Alright guys, so second tasting then here at Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. So this one here, this is the Hoppy Weizen. It comes in at 5.3% ABV, and yeah, this should be pretty nice. A Hopfenweizen, not a style that I have all that often. So this one, once again, poured with a finger of a frothy, I would say, kind of creamy coloured head. Lovely, very bright yellow colour there. I'm not sure how well that's shown up with the lighting and the camera, but it looks very, very nice. You can see it has that definite Hefeweizen haze. Remember, colour your beer depends on the type of malts that you use, and of course the level of haze in these Hefeweizens is down to the wheat content and I guess the yeast as well. But yeah, it certainly looks the part of a Hopfenweizen. But yeah, I saw Hoppy Hefeweizen on the list and I thought, you know, I need to try one of these. There's quite a few really interesting beers. Elena's saying hello. But yeah, we've some really nice beers on the list here. So I think we'll probably have to try quite a few of these. But yeah, looks very nice in terms of what you would expect from a Hefeweizen. Why not? Yeah, so aroma time. Yeah, this smells really nice. Backbone of the beer, you've got that lovely kind of bread crusty type quality. Soft white bread for sure. Yeah, lovely bread crust, soft white bread, barley malt in there. On top of that, you definitely get some of that nice kind of sweet candied banana. A little bit of definitely a little bit of that clovey sort of spice. You also have, you do get a little bit of a kind of coriander in there, so yeah, sweet kind of candied banana, clovey spice, a wee bit of a kind of bubblegummy candy note there, but this one is actually quite sweet in a lot of ways. I do get a nice little bit of I do get a little bit of sweetness out of this, you know, you do get a little bit of that kind of like butter candy, butterscotchy sort of thing on top of the bubble gum, so I like that about this one. But yeah, everything you'd expect. Bread crust, yeah, bread crusty note, soft white bread, the kind of clovey spice, bit of coriander, lovely sweet banana, lovely malt base to this one. Let's look at the hoppy side of things. On the hoppy side of things then, you do get a little bit of earthiness, lovely bright floral aromaticity, some grassy zestiness as well. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, for me the green component leans towards that kind of floral side of things. It's really, really nice. On the fruity side of things, for me, I find this one quite orangey. I wonder if this one is more kind of Mandarina Bavaria or something like that. So yeah, I think this has got a nice kind of orangey, oily, fruity character to it. So maybe a little bit of Mandarina Bavaria. So nice smell and aroma this one. So yeah, let me just pause a wee. So yeah, Elena and Maya had to leave there, so I was just saying toodaloo to them. But yeah, this one, in terms of the kind of hoppy side of things, lovely big orangey fruity character to this beer. I do suspect Mandarina Bavaria. But underneath that, a little bit of an apricot-y, kind of papaya type thing. Really nice smelling beer. Really, really like this. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we need to say about the aroma of this one, so let's have a taste. Yeah. Yeah, lovely beer this one, as you'd expect from a German wheat beer, a Weiss of any kind. Big, thick breadiness, lovely big creaminess. I really, really like how this goes together. So, backbone of the beer, soft, fresh, white bready bread crust. On top of that, a thick white bready note. Yeah, lovely bread crust, thick white bread note. You can feel the wheat just smoothing out the whole beer. Within that big wheaty bready sort of thing, you get that nice little bit of banana-y sweetness. Toward the front of the palate, the front of that middle third of your palate, you get more of the banana sweetness, but further back, you get a wee bit of that kind of coriander, kind of clovey spice for sure. On top of that, though, a little bit of I do get a little bit of a kind of brown sugary sweetness, like a little bit of a McVitie's digestive or butter candy, butterscotchy sort of thing. So quite a bit of that going on in this beer. Yeah, this is interesting for sure. It certainly, this one fits the Hopfenweizen profile really, really well. But it's actually actually quite a light, easy drinking Weizen beer at the same time, so I like that about it. Yeah, but malty-wise and yeasty-wise, this one is really, really nice. You get more of the kind of yeasty notes on the back third of the palate there. But let's focus on the hoppy side of things. Back corners of the palate, you have a nice little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward, you get a little bit of a herbal character, and as you reach the front corners of the palate, a little bit more of a kind of floral, aromatic sort of thing. So yeah, I do like how this goes together. Yeah, nice little bit of floral aromatic. But this beer, of course, being a wheat beer, it's not madly bitter. Round the front curve of the palate, nice and soft and grassy, quite a wet grassiness you get, but on the front third of the palate though you're getting the nice fruity notes. So base of the front third of your palate, lovely smooth white bready character, on top of that oily bubble with the juicy fruity esters. For me, there's a little bit of an apricot sort of thing in the back of that front third of your palate. But then as you move further forward, it gets a little bit more oily and orangey. I really would not be surprised if this is Mandarina Bavaria that's in here. Otherwise, it'll be something like Amarillo Mosaic, something like that. But quite a nice big oily orangey, but still zesty character to this beer. I like it for sure. Yeah, I like how this one goes together in that sense. It's not the most, it's just a really nice, smooth, easy drinking beer, this one. It gets a thumbs up from me, absolutely. Yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, mid-bodied, smooth carbonation, a little bit of an oily character, but it has the creaminess you'd expect of a Hefeweizen. IBUs, I think it's a typical sort of 15 IBU beer. Malty character, lovely and smooth, little touch of sweetness to it, and a big oily fruity note. But yeah, the Hoppy Weizen, as they're calling it, 5.3% ABV, sorry. That's a really nice beer. I'm impressed with this one. 2 good beers so far at Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. So let's leave it at that for this one. We'll see what else we're going to try here. Alright guys, well, time for beer tasting number 3 then here at Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. So for this one, we are going to have a look at one of my favourite German styles of beer. So yeah, this one is simply called Dunkel. It comes in at 5.2% ABV. This time I have a 0.5 because Mika is a very bad man and ordered the wrong measure, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So yeah, we can blame the Americans for giving me a 0.5 litre instead of a 0.3. There we go. Anyway, as you can see and as you would expect from a German Dunkel, it's poured a lovely dark, I would say sort of dark chestnut colour, this one. This is one of the darker Dunkels that I've come across in recent times. But when it poured with a solid finger of a frothy kind of fawn coloured head. It is fairly clear, but there is a little bit of a kind of natural haziness to it. 1 or 2 big bubbles of carbonation visible there, and a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the head there. The head, incidentally, is just a very kind of thin, foamy layer. But yeah, it's kind of as you would expect for a German Dunkel. So nothing else we can say about the appearance. Let's have a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on. So, aroma time. Oh, that's nice. So, once again, this is quite a bready leaning Dunkel beer. You do get a bit of brown sugar, you get the big breadiness, and you also get a wee bit of the smooth hop and fruitiness that you expect of this style. So let's go into that a little bit more in yeah, so back onto the beer. Lovely, slightly grainy, rye bread crusty character to this one. Yeah, so yeah, rye bread crusty character. On top of that, a slightly thicker, sweet, brown bready sort of beer. There are, little elements of woodiness, nuttiness coming out of this beer. Yeah, it's nice how it goes together though, actually, I have to say that, yeah. Nice little bit of woody, nutty character in there. On top of that, there's the brown sugars. So there's this lovely kind of smooth, there's this lovely sort of smooth, leathery brown sugary note. Sweet caramel in the middle, bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuit sort of thing. Yeah, lovely.
Berlin.
Lovely blend of things there, but yeah, this is quite, once again, quite a bready, greeny leaning German Dunkel. So yeah, interesting stuff. I do have to say that about this beer. It's a really interesting.
It's like 6,100 euros.
Yeah, I like it.
But I would do it on a bike leasing
yeah, on the
scheme
hoppy
in my
side of
work,
things,
where
a little
you
bit of an earthy
kind of
character,
financing,
wee bit of a
like
smooth
money
herbal
for
note.
it.
Little touch of floral aromaticity, but again quite smooth. Wee bit of a slight grassiness, but yeah, it goes together really nicely. This one on the hoppy side of things. On the fruity side of the beer,
What's the upside to
on the fruity side of the beer, a little bit of a raisiny sharpness, little touch of more juicy figgy character, and a wee bit of a little black curranty sort of thing as well. So yeah, it's got everything you would expect from the Dunkel, but definitely a more kind of bready, greeny type example of the style. So yeah, pretty happy with that as well. Let's have a taste of this one then and see how we go. So yeah, this is the Dunkel. 5.2% ABV from hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. Slanger, skull, cheers, Prost.
I went there crediting through work, and sure, they took money out of my paycheck,
Yeah.
but there was no like incentive, like you were saying. Like,
Once
10%
again,
or
pretty
anything
damn
like that.
solid.
Cycling's just so big in
Yeah,
Europe.
first impression of this beer. Big, bready, malty,
Yeah, it's seen as a
Dunkel beer. It's kind of as you would expect from the aroma.
sustainable.
The further you go into the aftertaste with it though, it does get a little bit sweeter. So I like that about
Would
it.
they do that for a car too if you want to buy a car? Really bite.
I don't know for sure, but the idea is that you're encouraging.
So yeah, big bready Dunkel, gets sweeter later on, and there is just a little touch of fruitiness and hoppiness to it.
Okay, I'm getting a bite.
Very nicely rounded, well balanced example of this beer style actually. So yeah, let's break this down for you and explain it a little bit more in depth as we always do.
If I'm on that bike and I'm spending that amount of money on it, if I don't stay with the company for 2 years of the contract,
Yeah, the middle of your palate then, backbone of the beer, lovely little bit of a kind of solid, greeny, rye bread crust, absolutely. On top of that, you start to get some of the more kind of thicker brown bread, rye bread characteristics into this one, which I do really like. So yeah, bread crust, thicker rye bread, toward the middle of that, toward the front of that middle third of your palate, I should say. There's a little bit of woodiness in there, wee touch of nuttiness, but yeah, this is quite a bready, brown bready leaning.
She's like,
Dunkel lager beer. Really nice.
like probably 30 plus.
I was looking for excuses not to go.
On top of the bready layer, you do get the brown sugar, so there's a layer of a sort of leathery brown sugary character. So yeah, I do like how that goes together. Yeah, so nice leathery brown sugar in there, sweet oily brown sugar in the middle, a little bit treacly, molassesy. That is, you know, you've got this circle there, that's the kind of leathery brown sugar. On top of that, you get a bit of a toasty brown sugar there, the more oily, sweet, treacle, molasses sort of thing sitting on top of that. So yeah, the brown sugary notes in this beer are quite nice, but this Dunkel really leans towards that bready, greeny, bread crusty type character. Really nice beer though, I do like this one, absolutely.
Real estate company called Newmark. The brokerage, and then I jumped ship from the co-working space to hotel.
Really like this one. Really solid beer. This.
Nice offer as GM
On
Germany,
the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there.
and I help out on this.
As you move further forward, it's a little bit herbal. As you reach the front corners of the palate, a little bit more kind of floral. Round the front curve of the palate, a little bit lighter and grassy. There is a wee touch of zestiness in there. It's showing its hoppy side quite nicely as well. Front third of the palate and fruity side of things then. Let's look at that.
Hopefully get citizenship in the next 6 months. I should hear if it's going to be.
You won't, because I'm in a rush.
So yeah. So front third of your palate, the base of that, it's nice and smooth and brown bready.
And you still
On top of that though, you get a little bit of a, you do get a little touch of raisiny sharpness in the beginning, but a bit of an oily figgy character underneath on the back half of that front third of your palate. As you come further forward, It starts to be a little bit more kind of black curranty for sure, and there's maybe a little slightly more oily blackberry character on the front tip of your tongue. So yeah, the way that goes together is really quite nice. Quite an oily but still quite light fruity character. Let's round off this one with a look at the mouthfeel then.
Friends used to work at a company, my best friend.
Yeah, so mouthfeel wise, bottom end of mid-bodied, smooth carbonation, little bit of a kind of smooth,
she doesn't really have a
yeah, a little bit of a kind of a more smooth, slightly creamy taste to be honest with you, but again, it's Barley Hausbrauerei beer, it makes sense that it's got that German smoothness to it. But yeah, IBUs, I think about 20, 25 IBUs, some from the grain, some from the hops, malty base, very smooth, bit of dryness, bit of sweetness, also a bit of toastiness in there, and the fruity side of this beer, just a little bit kind of wet and juicy. But yeah, the way that this goes together is really quite interesting. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This is the Dunkel, 5.2% ABV. We'll do one or two more tastings. This was tasting number 3 at Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei. So catch you guys for the next one in a second. So yeah guys, a little bit of a more kind of close look up at this little brewing apparatus here. Pretty random, isn't it? And the football is still going on now. Alright guys, well, time for our 4th and penultimate beer tasting then here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, time for our 4th and penultimate beer tasting then here at Hops and Barley. So the one that we're looking at now is the Bernstein. This one comes in at 5% ABV, and apparently this is an American amber. So again, a style that you don't come across all that often in Germany. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So as you can see, this one has poured a lovely, very rich, bright, kind of amber orange colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy, I would say, kind of cream coloured head. That is fading away to be a sort of, I would say, a kind of, yeah, a very kind of thin foamy layer, but yeah, it's going together quite well in that sense. But you can see this beer has a little bit of a natural haze to it. You can see it does have a little bit of clarity at the same time. But in terms of what you would expect from the American amber style, it's quite light, but you can get ones that are a little bit darker than this. It looks very nice anyway. It actually looks very similar to like a West Coast IPA, West Coast double IPA. So yeah, nothing to complain about there. It looks the part. Let's have a little look at the aroma of this one then and see how we go. That's quite nice. I mean, straight away with this one, you're going to get, you still get that German bready malt out of it. You smell the bread crust, the white bread, the wholemeal brown bready kind of thing. You've got all of this sort of thing going on. On top of that, quite a little bit of a kind of McVitie's digestive, biscuity sort of thing. I always use this as a descriptor because I think it really fits. But yeah, aroma-wise, I think this is really interesting. Yeah. It has this whole, as I've said to you, when it comes to German breweries trying these American styles of beer, it really just feels like you get that big German bready malt out of it. That is really, really apparent in this beer. So yeah, bread crust, white bread, brown bread, a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuit sort of thing. I'm not sure if I get a full caramel out of this. I think it is more biscuit than anything else. But yeah, interesting for sure. Yeah, it is. I think to describe this one as an amber ale is certainly quite accurate. Yeah, has my interest, this beer, and that was one of the reasons when I saw the name Bernstein, I thought this might be one of these beers where they put the rocks into the wort boil, and that means that the sugar is caramelized a little bit more. But apparently not. It's just the name. It is just the name. So yeah, on the hoppy side of things, then. Little touch of earthiness to it, wee bit of herbal character, little touch of floral note, but for me the green component really leans towards that lighter grassy side of things. Yeah. The aroma, the hop hoppy profile on this one, I had a little look at Untappd. It has pearl hops in it, and that makes sense. So you get that nice earthiness, you get a bright floral aromaticity, but you also get quite a kind of zesty, grassy component to this one. So yeah, this one has that nice big spicy character to it. One of those slightly higher alpha acid German hops. Yeah, on the fruity side of things, it's got a little bit of a kind of amber, it's got a little bit of that sort of apricot-y, papaya type thing to it. So a bit of dried fruit in the base. Other than that, a little bit of apricot, a little bit of papaya. I do get a little bit of like a tangerine orange out of it, but also some kind of sultana, like dried green, white grapey characters coming out of this one. A little bit of gooseberry as well. So it really is more of an amber ale, this one, than a red ale. There is a little bit of conflation between an American amber and an American red, but for me this is definitely an amber ale. But in fairness, it's not a million miles away from like an American pale ale, like a West Coast pale ale, like a German take on an American West Coast pale ale. As I've said before, when the Germans try these American styles of beer, it turns out to be a lot more bready. The German malt is characteristically very, very bready, but it smells nice, this one. So as I always say, take a bit of time just to enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But we're going to taste this. So this is the Bernstein, a 5% American amber from Hops and Barley here in Berlin. Slange, Skull, cheers, Prost. Oh yeah. Now, that's pretty damn solid. That is nice. Yeah. I like this one. Once again, the fact that this is a German take on an American style is really apparent. It has that big, smooth, bready base to it. But it still shows you the American hoppy thing, the American hoppy side very, very nicely. Happy with this. Actually really happy with this. This is one of these beers where it opens up a little bit, it mellows out, and you start to really appreciate the flavours that you're getting out of it. This is nice. Let's break this down for you properly then. Backbone of the beer, on the middle of your palate, a little bit of a bread crusty note, smooth brown bready character, then a white bready note on top. And again, that's the German malt base. On top of that, you get quite a lot of McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. In the very dead centre of your palate, there's a little bit of a slightly sweet caramelly note to it. Absolutely. But yeah, for me, the brown sugary side of this beer leans toward a light McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. As I said earlier, I'm not sure whether the Germans use the American English or the British English. The American English we would probably say like cookies, whereas the British English we would say like biscuit. So it's that kind of vibe that you're getting out of this one. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, a little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, a little bit herbal, but very quickly this beer becomes quite floral and aromatic. It has got quite a little bit of a deep floral note to it, which indicates to me a bit of early edition hopping. Remember, West Coast IPAs and things in America rely on early edition hopping. This gives you a lot of bitterness. The more modern New England beers use late edition and dry hopping, so they're not quite as deep in their green component as other beers are. So yeah, West Coast IPAs use all three, New England IPAs use late edition and dry hopping. Bear that in mind. This one has a bit of all three. You can tell that from the depth of the green component in this. But yeah, round the front curve of the palate, nice and grassy, a little bit zesty. Let's focus on the front third of your palate and the fruity side of things. Yeah, front third of your palate then. Base of that front third of your palate, smooth white bready character, a little bit of brown bread underneath. On top of that, you have the nice fruity side of things. Yeah, for me, the fruity side of the beer, at the back of that front third of your palate, you do get a little bit of a juicy mango. There's a bit of apricot underneath. I wonder if there's a bit of citra in this. I do wonder if there could be a little bit of citra, something like that in this beer. Yeah, oily, juicy mango, a little bit of an apricot-y undertone. As you move into the front half of that front third of your palate, you do get a little bit of kind of like, you get a bit of this oily pear sultana type flavour, maybe a tiny little hint of an orangey character. Yeah, this is a really nice amber ale. This is, it works. An American amber is a very good description for this one. Yeah, this is nice. The amber ale, it's a style that I really like, but you don't get to drink it all that often. You don't find this in Sweden or Scotland, so to find one in Germany is pretty random, especially in a little brauhaus like this. But I like this one. This is very nicely done. Just gives you everything you would want from the style. It's almost like if you think about a German Märzen, but then change it to an ale so it feels thicker, and then add a little bit more fruitiness into it. That reflects this beer. That description reflects this beer pretty well. So, on the mouthfeel then, yeah, mid-bodied, smooth carbonation, a little bit oily and slick, hoppy bitterness, maybe about 25-30 IBUs, which is kind of standard these days. Malty side of things, smooth kind of bready, bread crusty sort of thing. Wee bit of sweetness, and also you've got this nice kind of oily, fruity sort of thing to it. So yeah, a little bit of tropical fruit, a little bit more citrusy fruit. But yeah, this was the Bernstein 5% American Amber from hops and barley. We're going to do one more. They've got a regular IPA, so I'll catch you in a second and look at that beer. Join us now. Alright guys, new football game. Borussia Dortmund, Leipzig. Yeah, I love Dortmund. Los die Schwarz-Gelbe. There we go. Alright guys, well, time for our final beer tasting then here at Hausbrauerei, Hops and Barley, Friedrichshain in Berlin. So, the last beer that we're looking at this time is called the Limosi. It comes in at 6.5% ABV, and this one is an IPA. Now, judging by the appearance of this one, I think it's going to be a West Coast IPA. As you can see, this beer poured with a finger of a frothy, I would say kind of creamy coloured head. It looks really nice, clear, nice amber colour there. So yeah, more of a West Coast IPA this one, I think. I think that's definitely fair to say. Yeah, one or two big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the head. Overall, it looks really nice. But yeah, definitely more of a West Coast American IPA this one. I really like it. But yeah, looks the part in this one. So let's take a little look at the aroma of this one. Nothing overly surprising about the appearance of this beer. So, aroma time. That feels very, very familiar. Straight away, lovely, big, bready malt base. This is exactly what you would expect of a German brewed West Coast IPA. It has that lovely little bit of bread crust in there. Big, white bready character, a little bit of a kind of wholemeal brown bready sort of thing. Yeah, this goes together really nicely. On top of that, sweet caramel, a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. Yeah, as I've said to you before, when it comes to West Coast IPAs, these beers can go two ways. Either they can be more oily and caramelly and biscuity, or they can be more bready and biscuity. Two sides to the West Coast IPA. But for me, this one is a more bready, biscuity example of the style. And German brewed West Coast IPAs tend to be like that. They tend to be really distinctively bready and more biscuity. So yeah, I think this one smells really nice from that malty side of things. Let's look at the hoppy side of the beer. So for me, hoppy side of the beer, a little bit earthy. Yeah, a little bit of a smooth earthiness in this one. Big floral aromaticity. But not overly much. But yeah, nice big floral aromaticity for sure. A little bit of a bright grassy note out of it. A little bit zesty at the same time, but yeah, a little bit of a spicy floral aromatic note, bright grassy zestiness. Yeah, aroma-wise, this one goes together really, really nicely. Yeah, hoppy side of this beer is good. On the fruity side of things, definitely a wee bit of passion fruit and oily mango for sure. And again, a big orangey, oily sort of thing. Yeah, big sweet orangey note. For me, it's like a big zesty, oily, like Amarillo type hop that you get out of this one. So yeah, passion fruit, mango, one or two undertones, but then big oily orange, maybe a teeny little hint of like maybe a little teeny hint of kind of gooseberry type thing. So I think Citra Amarillo in this one. I think this is like, this beer, when I smell it, it smells very, very old school West Coast IPA. So I think that's what's going on with this one. Yeah, lovely smelling beer. The more that I smell of it, the sweeter that it gets. Let's have a taste of this one then and see how we go. So yeah, my final beer tasting then here at Hops and Barley in Brewpub. This one is the Lamosi IPA, 6.5% ABV. Slange, skull, cheers, roast. This has been really fun to try, a little really random pub in the Friedrichshain area of Berlin. There we go, roast. That's nice, that is good. This is like an old school West Coast IPA that you would drink back in 2013, 2014, something like this. This is what I like about the German brewed IPAs. They really, for me at least, they give me this nostalgia factor. This takes me back to the IPAs that I was drinking from Brewdog and things like this in Scotland back in 2012, 2013 and so on. That's really nice. This beer is a lot more caramelly and biscuity and things than the aroma would have you believe. On the aroma, it was leaning more towards the bready side of things. But yeah, big caramelly notes out of this. I really like it. Yeah, I like this one, absolutely. Yeah, so first impression, big, oily, slick West Coast IPA. I really like this. It gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah. So let's break this one down for you then. Middle of your palate, a little bit of a bread crusty backbone to it. On top of that, smooth white bread. There is a little touch of a more grainy, wholemeal, brown bready character to this one. But yeah, it's typical of a German brewed IPA this. It has that big, typical German malty bready backbone to it. It really works. On top of that, sweet caramelly note. So yeah, in the middle third of your palate, you have that big, sweet caramelly note. Underneath all of that, there's a slightly, so the base of the brown sugars is like a sweet McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. On top of that, there's a little bit of a more kind of Werther's original butter candy, butterscotchy note. In the dead centre of your palate, you have that big, sweet, oily caramelly note, and that's covering up the booziness of the beer. At 6.5%, this is not the strongest West Coast IPA that you're going to come across, but it still can pack a fair punch. But it really, stylistically, this one really leans toward that old school West Coast IPA. In terms of the malt base, it gives you everything that you would want. This one has the sweet caramelly notes, the smooth breadiness, and a bit of biscuity character. I really like this. Thumbs up to Hops and Barley Hausbrauerei on the malt base of this. Really like this. So, hoppy side of things then. Yeah, hoppy side of the beer. Back corners of the palate, a little bit of earthiness. As you move further forward, a little bit of hoppy bitterness. As you go to the front corners of the palate, a little bit more floral and aromatic. But yeah, in some way it's like quite a wet floral aromaticity. So remember, West Coast IPAs rely mainly on early addition hops because this gives you the big bitter characters, that gives you a really deep floral aromaticity. Late addition hops give you a little bit of bitterness, but mainly flavour and aroma. And then dry hopping gives you completely flavour and aroma. So you have to think this balance. This one has a wee bit of everything in it, which works. So yeah, not the most bitter of West Coast IPAs, but I think the hoppiness does grow the more that you drink of this one. So yeah, that's interesting for sure. Around the front curve of the palate, a little bit lighter and grassy, but still wet and zesty for sure. And then the front third of the palate, we'll look at that now. So yeah, front third of the palate, smooth, white ready base there. On top of that, nice kind of oily, fruity sort of thing to it for sure. Back of that front third of the palate, a little bit of a kind of passion fruity sort of thing. As you move further forward, oily mango. I think there's citra hop in this. I'm pretty sure there's citra hop in this one. So yeah, passion fruit, mango, wee touch of like apricot and stuff underneath. But as you move into the front half of that front third of your palate, it's big and oily and orangey. Either Mosaic or Amarillo. Tempted to say Amarillo because of how oily the orangey character is, and it's quite zesty as well. But as you get to the front tip of the tongue, definitely a wee bit more kind of limey and zesty, but it works, it absolutely works. I really like how this goes together. Yeah, fruity side of this beer, really nice, big and oily, everything you could want from a West Coast IPA. Let's round off with the mouthfeel then. Yeah, mouthfeel wise, for me, this one is for me it's top end to mid bodied, smooth carbonation, nice big oily mouthfeel. Hoppy wise, not the biggest in terms of bitterness, maybe about 50 IBUs, something like that. The bitterness builds the further you go into the aftertaste. Smooth maltiness, big oily sweetness, and also a big oily juicy fruity character out of it. I really like how this goes together. Solid German take on a West Coast IPA. So it has that typical German bready base, bit of malty sweetness, and then the big oily character. Really like this. This has been a nice way to round off my beer reviewing here at Hausbrauerei, Hops and Barley. So yeah, this is awesome. So yeah, the Limoussi 6.5% West Coast IPA. That's it for just now. I'll give you my final thoughts on my time here at Hops and Barley in just a second. Catch you now. Alright then guys, so my final thoughts then on Hausbrauerei, Hops und Barley here in Friedrichshain in Berlin. So I had a really nice time here. For some reason I only paid like 13 euros for the 5 different beers that I tried. I honestly have no idea how that came about, but yeah, 13 euros is about £11 sterling, maybe about $15 American, 130 Swedish kroner. But yeah, the quality of the beer was really nice. We had some really good stuff, lots of different styles, some German things, some American stuff. It was all, the German stuff was really in keeping with what you would expect from German beer. The American stuff was really nice. So I was very happy with that. I just don't understand why it was so cheap. But the staff were great. It was a really kind of quite unusual looking bar, this one. Just very kind of niche, I guess we could say. But I really enjoyed my time here. So if you do get the chance to come and visit Hops and Barley in Friedrichshain in Berlin, you are going to enjoy yourself. Very cheap beer, very nice, and you're going to have fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Another out and about video. Check out my social media, check out Hops and Barley's social media, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. So yeah, this was Hausbrauerei, Hops und Barley in Friedrichshain in the eastern part of central Berlin. Slange, Skull, cheers, Prost, and see you guys on the next review.